Well, hello there. Thanks for joining me. I am Dr. Jen, and I'm so pleased you've joined me for today's show. Today is a very, very special episode because today we're exploring the location-specific tenancy guidelines, which is the summary episode. This isn't the actual episode, but this one features our last Canadian territory, the Northwest Territory, the Australian state of New South Wales, and three US states, Virginia, Connecticut, and Massachusetts. So that's what we're going to go through right now in this summary episode. So this is just a taste of what is already live in the library right now. You see, for every location I just mentioned, there is a dedicated podcast, a deep dive just for you for each one of these locations, and it is available to you right now. In the My Life as a Landlord podcast library, you're going to see over 200 episodes, and we've just added 6 more episodes overnight. You can find them on the platform you're listening to now, or they're on mylifeasalandlord.com. Just go to episodes and search for many location specific episodes. Now, in all of my location specific episodes, I do in detail screen sharing, reviewing hyperlinks to that state, province, landlord tenant law code, and all kinds of resources, just trying to get you set up. Um, let's see what else. You just never know what's going to come out in these location specific podcasts, and usually they're quite long because they are quite detailed. One truth I've learned: no place is the same as any other. They're all different, and then 5 minutes later, even if I get it 100% right at the time of recording, then they will change. I also learn about so many resources on how to help landlords just like you and me in these locations and beyond. And I can't wait to share them through this amazing podcast and YouTube channel. By the end of this year, I will be moving into Europe, locations abroad, and doing more in Europe, Asia, and finishing Australia. But regarding the 5 areas in the location specific podcast that just went live, including 3 United States, 1 Canadian territory, and 1 Australia state, let's talk about the 4 areas that my framework covers in every single one of these episodes. Each of my location specific podcasts is set up in the same way, answering the same 4 questions. What are the basics of that state or province landlord tenant law? What are the nuances of this location? What's different? What stands out? Some guidance about abandoned items left behind by a tenant in that location, and then where to get help in that location. What if you just don't know anything? You don't know where to get started? Here's a sample of what you can expect from these 5 location specific podcasts. In Virginia, where the Virginia Residential Landlord and Tenant Act spells out almost everything you need to know, application fees are capped at $50 plus out-of-pocket screening costs, and security deposits cannot exceed 2 months' rent. You've got to offer your tenant a move-in inspection and give them 45 days to get their deposit back after move out. If rent is late, you can charge up to 10% as a late fee, but only after serving a 5-day pay or quit notice. That's not really a grace period. One unique feature in Virginia is the state's eviction diversion program, so make sure you're familiar with the right of redemption if you ever have to file for possession. Northwest Territories, Canada. Heading up to the Northwest Territories in Canada, you'll find a system that relies heavily on a rental officer rather than traditional courts. You can collect a security deposit equal to 1 month's rent plus a half-month pet deposit, but both must be held in a trust account. Rent increases are strictly limited to once every 12 months, and you must give a full 3 months notice before it kicks in. If you run into trouble with non-payment or mischief/lease violations, you don't just hand out a standard notice, you actually have to apply to the rental officer for an order. It's a unique setup that really emphasizes administrative dispute resolution over immediate eviction. This is different. Moving over to Connecticut. Down in Connecticut, the law is very specific right from the start. You absolutely cannot charge an application fee, only the actual cost of an actual background check up to $50. There's a mandatory 9-day grace period for late rent, and late fees are capped at either $5 a day up to $50 or 5% of the rent. Security deposits are limited to 2 months' rent for most tenants, but drop to just 1 month if your tenant is 62 years old or older. As of 2024, you're also legally required to offer a standardized move-in inspection checklist before they take occupancy. Finally, keep an eye on local rules because there's no statewide rent control, but several municipalities have fair rent commissions that can block excessive increases. Down under in New South Wales, let's take a trip. And the rules look a bit different than in North America. And this is why I love doing different location stuff. Here, you don't hold a security deposit, which they call a bond. You don't hold it as yourself as the landlord. It gets lodged directly with the New South Wales Fair Trading. Application fees are completely illegal, and rent can generally only be increased once every 12 months with a full 60 days written notice. If a tenant needs to break a fixed term lease early, the law actually dictates the exact break fee based on how much time is left on the lease. It's a highly regulated market, so make sure you're using the standard form residential tenancy agreement and give the required 14-day notice for non-payment. Let's move over to Mass. Massachusetts is widely known as a very tenant-friendly state with some strict financial rules for landlords. You can collect first month, last month, and a security deposit and a lock and key fee up front, but absolutely no pet deposits or application fees are allowed. Both the security deposit and the last month's rent must be held in separate interest-bearing accounts, and you have to pay that interest out to the tenant annually. If you don't return the security deposit within the strict 30-day window, you could be hit with triple damages. You'll need to give a 14-day notice quit for non-payment, but be prepared for a court process that heavily favors tenant protections. There you have it. There's a snippet of the 5 locations for this quarter's tranche of location-specific podcasts. Just as a reminder, each location-specific podcast mentions 4 questions, and the framework is exactly the same. What are the basics of the tenant laws regarding that location? What are some of the nuances? What's about some guidance about abandoned items a tenant might leave behind? And then where to get help in your local real estate area if you need help as a landlord. This is the same format for every location-specific episode, so if you're interested in another geographic area, you already know what I'm going to talk about, just in a different location. But one thing you need to know, this episode and all of my location-specific episodes are not all-inclusive. You must do your own research further in your own county, regional district, parish, city, or any other governing body that involves your rental location. But today's summary episode will let you know that what just got added in the library overnight. Who knows? I suspect you'll be thumbing through the podcast library at My Life as a Landlord, and you'll find 1 or 2 or 10 episodes that you might just bookmark. If you're listening to this podcast, chances are you're either a current landlord, about to be, or you want to be in a certain location, which is cool with me. Please visit My Life as a Landlord episode library to go into your specific location and learn more. Now, if you don't see your location yet, just have a little patience. I'm getting there. Don't forget to subscribe to the show for more expert advice and real stories from across the rental property world. I'm recording this episode today in Powell River, BC. Why? Because real estate takes you places. Where do you want real estate to take you? Join me in the next location-specific episode live right now in the library, episode 235, about the Great Commonwealth of Virginia. I'll see you there.